Today on the podcast, we're talking about how Marissa Mayer just laid out a possible business model for ad-supported AI chatbots. So this is a really interesting topic to me, moving towards the monetization side of AI and how it's going to look in the future. Really interesting stuff. But before we get into that, we wanted to talk about our AI Hustle school community. It's an amazing place. We have about 225 members now. It's growing weekly, and we post every single week bonus content over there where we show you exactly how we are making money with AI and also how some of our members are. It's really just a great place. There's tons of awesome community interaction over there as well with like-minded individuals. It's just a really great place. This week only, it is $18. That is our Black Friday special. You can lock that rate in forever, and you're going to want to do that because next week it's going up to $100. So if you want to get a steal of a deal, jump in this week. But Jaeden, why don't you tell us about Marissa Mayer and what she's up to?
Okay, yeah. So again, get the Black Friday deal, link in the description. But I think this is really interesting. Marissa Mayer is talking a little bit about what she thinks these AI chatbots are going to do. I think a lot of people are thinking about this, even if they're not saying the quiet part out loud, and that is that these AI chatbots typically are losing a lot of money. And so what she kind of talked about specifically was a scenario that when she was working over at Google and they were kind of first rolling out their ads, she's likening it to what's happening with chatbots today. And she specifically is saying that, oh, by the way, I just thought there was the funniest, like, sort of roast of her in TechCrunch, but they were trying to be nice to her, but I just thought it was a roast. They said they said that she's the CEO of a company called Sunshine, which they said, which is creating apps to do things like share photos more efficiently. Well, none of these apps have taken off yet. Her background makes it worth considering her opinion as it relates to online advertising. I feel like it wasn't necessary to like roast the fact that her apps haven't taken off. All right, she's got a startup. Just give her a break. Maybe it'll work. Okay, anyways. So this is what's interesting. She talked about an example of when people were doing Google searches back in the early days for concert tickets. And there's like a lot of very specific pieces of information that Google wants to know from the concert venues, like what seats are available and, where people's locations are. And there's like all this information. And so there was kind of this like understanding that like these concert ticket places were giving Google as much data and information as they possibly had because they wanted their results to be, when they're running ads to people searching for a concert to be as accurate as possible. And because they need like geographic location and like there's just a bunch of different things. So all that to say, she was saying that with AI tools, she believes that that AI tools are going to need even more data to properly advertise to people, because she said if you're sticking with like the concert thing, back with Google, it was just like, hey, I want to see I don't know who, I would say Johnny Cash, but he probably wasn't even alive when Google was rolling out. So whoever you want to see in concert, Usher, right? I'm just trying to think of Jamie's, top most listened to music on his Spotify rap this year. So if you want to see Usher in concert or whatever, if you're doing it on ChatGPT, you're probably going to say like, hey, what are the pricing for like an Usher concert? Like, what is like front row seat? What's the nosebleeds? What's the cheapest? What's the best? I mean, I honestly don't know why you wouldn't just go to like Ticketmaster and like look at the website itself, except that I will say half the time when you're on like StubHub or Ticketmaster, the websites can be extremely annoying. And I, for one, there's certain things that I will do where there's like a perfectly good booking engine experience or something that will, I don't know. There's a perfectly good piece of software that can do what I'm looking for, but I will still use ChatGPT as much as I can because I just hate, I hate trying to do all of the narrowing down the results. And I'll give you one really good example of this. But just to round up her point was that advertisers are going to want so much information. And so there's going to be like a lot of data sharing that needs to get to the AI model, needs to get to the advertisers, because people are going to be like, hey, what seats are available? Hey, what's the inventory left for this specific item? And these companies are going to have to give a ton of different data. So anyways, she thinks it's going to be interesting and that we're going to have to give up more of our data, essentially, if we want to get good results with these chat models, that people are going to actually want that. I thought this was interesting. I'm going to give you one example. I'm going to kick this over to Jamie to get your take on this and talk a little bit more about ads. But the one thing I would absolutely love to see, and that I believe would be a way better user experience, I guess as an example, is like Zillow. I'm on Zillow all the time. Call it an addiction, call it whatever you want. I don't care. Looking at houses in different places, like, oh, how much would a house be over here? And like, I kind of have like things that I'm interested in. I'm like, oh, I want it to be in like this neighborhood, and like, I want it to be like, I want this much like square footage of the house, or this many bedrooms, or like the lot size to be this. And yes, if you go on Zillow, there's like a whole bunch of things you can kind of like narrow down your search results by. But there's only like, sometimes there's like something that I really want on there, and Zillow just doesn't offer it. And so I end up having to like switch between different tabs. And an example of this is like my wife, she always has like the FBI crime map whenever she looks at like houses. She has the FBI crime map in one thing and Zillow in the other. And whenever she sees a house, she's like seeing like what the crime in the area is or whatever. So ChatGPT could integrate with both of these pieces of data. And you can imagine, you just make a prompt that's like, this is the prompt for the exact kind of house I want. And maybe it's not even like, I don't even know what city or what area I want to move to, but I want it to have all of these different, like, these things and these price points. And like, you could get so granular into what like Zillow won't offer you on their settings. So anyways, I think that we'll see this in a lot of different industries, and it will roll out. And if Zillow doesn't integrate it, they're going to get essentially eaten by people, maybe even using the Zillow API, but they're going to be over on ChatGPT or another search model looking for it, because they're going to give them like a more searchable experience where it feels like you're like chatting with something and giving them your exact things. I don't know. What's your take on it?
Yeah. Well, I got an interesting vibe when I was reading this article. I feel like this is maybe a different take on it, but moving forward, I think of every time we have Alexa playing music in our room, like our kids love to tell Alexa different songs to play and stuff. They always try to sell us on the Amazon Music Unlimited. And half the time the kids are like, yes. And then they subscribe us to Amazon Music Unlimited because Alexa asks, hey, do you want to be subscribed? So I'm picturing that kind of moving forward. Like if you have these AI chatbots, having them integrate ads into like, you booked a ticket to the concert. Would you also like a $50 food voucher, for $40, and you could like buy things with the AI, which is cool and inconvenient. But then I also go back to like, is this going to move us away from being able to trust AI? What's an ad, what's not, in the future. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how, as monetization comes to AI, what types of, things like that happen as far as trustworthiness and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. I think you have a really great point. I'm so curious how this goes, because right now we have ChatGPT charging $20 a month, and all these AI models, Gemini, everyone's charging $20 a month, and it feels like a good model because you can trust the output to not have ads in it. But at the same time, you can think of like Google Search, which has essentially, when you do a Google Search, they're going to have an AI summary at the top and then ads below, and it just, like, I'm wondering at what point ads would get like embedded into the Google search. You see, it feels like that happens a lot more with like Perplexity, whether they're ads or not, because they have shopping, but they have like, I don't know if, well, anyways, it's just interesting because like it would make you feel like you trust the result less if there's ads in it, obviously. But Perplexity is doing this, and I think Perplexity might be taking a good approach to it. I'm curious to see if this like lowers trust in their product. But essentially, if you say like, what are the best, headphones to buy, it'll outline the best headphones to buy, but then it will have links to go buy them on Best Buy. And I know that Best Buy is paying for that traffic. And if Best Buy doesn't want to pay it, then they'll get Amazon to pay it, or they'll get someone else to pay it, right? So someone's willing to pay to be kind of like the all Perplexity traffic is driven towards them person. That being said, and I think that's fine. That doesn't bother me so much because sometimes it's convenient. What will bother me is if individual advertisers, not platforms, get on there. And so instead of just Best Buy getting the traffic, if it's like Bose headphones gets the traffic, and then you're like, well, how do I trust that Bose is really the best headphones when they're the ones paying to be put in this ad? So I think that's where these AI models have to really walk a fine line to not essentially lose users' trust.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it all goes. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to leave us a review. We love reading those, and it helps our podcast out a lot. So, and also be sure to check out the school community again. Lock in the $18 before it goes up to $100 a month. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.